A The truth is a hard pill to swallow. That's why so many people is more comfortable with the lie, because it's so hard to digest the truth. And we don't want to face reality to a lot of things in our personal lives. So this affects us in our spiritual lives. Allow me to tell the truth to you for a minute. The seed of man, the son of man, the seed of Dawi, our forefather Dawi, David, served only one power, only made mention of one name, one entity, one deity, and that was Yahweh. He served him, he worshiped him, he exalted him, he cried to him. That goes for all our forefathers. Abraham, he did not serve deities once he learned who Yahweh was, when he brought him and took him away from the land of Ur. He served Yahweh only. Something didn't feel right. Isaac, Jacob served Yahweh only. So when you backtrack our forefathers and you see how they serve and worship the Creator, what do you expect their descendants to do? I'm pretty sure they expected us to follow in their footsteps. But Masha and the scriptures did what Yahweh, he did put out a prophecy that we would go up under the curse and go up under the deities and the idols of the nations that we are up under. And that's what we're dealing with right now. The idol of Christianity, the white Jesus and the black Jesus, is one and the same. Just adding a Hebrew name to it does not make it righteous or upright or right. It's still wrong in idolatry and adultery, because we have a covenant married vow unto Yahweh. So when you become a Christian or serve Christ and not serve Yahweh and be upright and be Yeshurun, upright, straight with Yahweh only, walk with Yahweh only, then that's where the problem lies. See, when you give yourself to the New Testament, you give yourself to falsehood. Now you're able to be deceived, manipulated by cunning lips and words. That's why many false messiahs came, quote unquote, in the name of Christ or of another name, but in the form of Christ. Because the letters and how that story was written in the New Testament was trying to fit a coming descendant of the seed of David in the future, which has not taken place yet. But in reality, waiting for that takes away the focus on waiting on Yahweh and hearing his words. But it is our fault. Because like our forefathers, we cried to be like other nations, other people. Give us a prince, commonly called king. Yahweh is the king. The governor is the prince. But give us a prince so we can be like the other nations. So that's partially our fault. you know. So we look to Christ to coming back, and we got a mixed multitude within the Old Testament only brothers and sisters looking to David himself coming back, just because the way things are worded in Scripture, from the modern day Amalekite Edomite, see when Yahya was putting these scriptures together through his prophets, and he had them write it down, and they were saying verbatimly what he said. He was wording it in a way that they understood what he meant, fittingly that we should understand what our forefathers were understanding. So when he said, David, your prince forever, and then you go into Jeremiah chapter 33, and it talks about David shall always have a son to sit on his throne. Right then and there, my Old Testament only Israelites should see that there shall always be a different seed to sit on a throne. So David can't come back and sit on a throne. That's the same story as Christ, just using a different name. So a seed will sit on a throne, but not now. That's our problem. We waiting on man. Our focus is on man and not Yahweh. See, the world and the oppressor and the other nations before us made us discredit our power, our God Yahweh. Made us look at the God thing differently. See it how they see it. Because we're trying to be like what? The other nations, not like our forefathers. So now we look at God like he's a myth, fake, a fairy tale, a sky daddy. All of these mockery and insults towards the power, the creator who shaped and molded you, to the forefathers who served them and won enormous victories and seen the greatness of our power, Yahweh. That's the issue. We're like the nations before us and not like our forefathers, the righteous ones. Right? So in the New Testament, it was put together by the Amalekite Edomite, who fulfills the prophecy to have dominion, for they have dominion right now. But they were trying to fulfill that vision throughout time. So during the time of the Romans, Josephus, who was a Edomite, Amalekite Edomite, from the line of Agag and Haman, and also Herod was an Amalekite Edomite. You know what I'm saying? And also Marcion, who was an Amalekite Edomite, and also the Flavians, who was Amalekite Edomites. That family, they were going under different names throughout history, throughout times, but they had the same motive, same intent to fulfill the vision and have dominion and to bring idolatry into the world, for the other nations to serve idolatry, and for when it was time for Yasharallah, the Negro, African American so-called, when it was time for us to go up under the curse, because we were stripped of our land, language, our God, our nationality. So when it was time for us to start waking up to some form of spirituality, they gave us the idol. And we bit the story. We digested. We found it a delicacy. We now preach about the deity, the idol of the New Testament, black Jesus or white Jesus, Yahweh Shai, Yeshua, Yeshua, whatever you want to call him. We now exalt and esteem him before the Almighty Yahweh, because that was the plan. That's part of the curse. Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 67. That's part of the curse, right? It's if you read and understand that, and you're not uncomfortable with the truth, then you will accept that. But since that was the plan from the get-go, it was in session, it took place, and it was successful even to today. So many forms of that deity spawn, you know, from that. Like the ancient form of that deity, we should know that it's the Egyptian deity. You know, the three deities, Horus, Isis, and Amun-Ra. That's one of the reasons why I don't call ourselves Israel for Isis, Amun-Ra, and El, Bel or Baal, because that represents the three deities that the Amalekite Edomite still exalts to this day, because their original father Esau served the idols of the Canaanites. And if you go into a little bit of history, in that Egypt over there, especially in certain books that they write about, the only form of Hebrew or Hebrew people that was known to be in Egypt over there was Edom. Makes sense to me. I don't know about you, but it makes sense to me because they served and learned from the other nations. These Amalekite Edomites, the bankers, these so-called Jews, the Rothschilds, these Bilderbergers. You know what I'm saying? That family. Till this day, they still have these different forms of ancient religions or spirituality in the world today that they still exalt and have the people up under it. It's like a trance. It's like a spell, gospel, the good spell, you know. So if the people can just return and worship the power of Abraham, Isaac, Isaac, Jacob, Yeshurun, who is Yahweh only. But we so bothered by names. We so bothered. You say Haya, they're like, man, who was that? Somebody hear me like, man, what kind of new name is that now? Who is Yahweh? Like, not even understanding, blaspheming and mocking it. You know, when I let off, I let off the brakes on that name, um, Yahuwah or Yahweh or Yahweh, when I start researching and seeing that it ties into the deities of the ancient Canaanites, and it means that Hua, that way, that Hawa, all of that is one, and it means mischief. So together, the name means he is mischief. You know what I'm saying? He is mischief. But Yahweh is salvation. Yahweh means he is the existing one. He exists, or he is the existing one. And that's the name that Yahweh proposed to Moses. Well, he said Ahaya, but that was the prefix Ah, meaning I exist. For Yahweh was speaking in first person directly to Masha. So he says Ahaya. So Ah, meaning I exist. But then Masha went to go speak to Israel. Well, Yasharallah, he said Yahaya, because he's speaking in third person for Haya. So that's why you put the Yah part on it, Yahaya, meaning he is the existing one, proving that he exists, and he made himself known to Masha, Moses. But Haya itself, that name, is existing one, and that is the Almighty's name. But we fight over that. we so divided far above this black and white Jesus, but really nothing is more greater than that black and white Jesus, because like some people can kind of understand a name is a name, but they not letting go of that idol, man. But seriously, if you really read this book and you dealt with the Almighty personally, you will know that we never served another deity but Yahweh, and David always had another son to sit on the throne after him, and that was his blessing. That was the prophecy of him. So I could see how they can just conjure up and combine a story and create something. But if you know anything about the Flavians and Marcion, they said they hated the God of Yasharala, the God of Abram, because he was too authoritative. So they wanted to make a nicer God, and that God is white Jesus, black Jesus, Yahweh Yeshua. That's just the truth. There's nothing wrong with serving Yahweh and Yahweh alone. There's never nothing wrong with being a servant unto Yahweh. I mean, that's why Yahweh blessed David, right? Because he was after his heart. He wasn't after the heart of no other deity. He wasn't after the heart of Jesus. He wasn't after the heart of Yahweh Shah. He was after the heart of Yahweh. You're never in wrong for doing that. But we so caught up in the spell, we so caught up in the curses, that's so valid, and its validity has proven itself even to this day. And that Ezekiel 37, I believe that's Ezekiel 37. Don't get me lying though. You know what I'm saying? Let me be sure. I don't like lying. Just saying things, you know what I'm saying? I don't like doing that. Make sure I go to it right quick. Yeah, that's wild, I really need to do all that. Oh yeah, okay. That Ezekiel 37. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Ezekiel 37 verse 19. Until the northern kingdom and southern kingdom become one again, we won't be on one accord and be serving Yahweh only. We still be divided at a distance, serving the deities that we up under, and not until Yahweh sets up his kingdom again, where all people can serve him, especially us, because that's our obligation and duty, until he sets up his kingdom, bring down the nations before us, sets up his kingdom, then we shall see eye to eye, because he's going to bring Zion back, and the nations that we are scattered up under our oppressors won't be able to fool us and manipulate us again or anymore. But this is the red pill. The blue pill is idolatry and anything contrary to Yahweh. Once again, serving Yahweh is the red pill. The blue pill is anything contrary to Yahweh and serving idolatry and being adulterous to Yahweh, because we is Yahweh's bride, and he is our husband, he is our father, he is our king, he is our creator, and we are simply what? The clay. He's the potter, we're the clay. People think that spirituality and different belief systems, and just because we in the world of independent thinking, that matters to God, Yahweh, that it can make a difference in the world. Everything is still going accordingly, because the more independent we stay thinking, the more independent we are, then the more distant we are from reality. And then Yahweh is going to implement his prophecy and bring down the nations before us, and everybody going to be so stunned and shocked and rise up. And then he going to rise up Yasharala, true Israel, and then the people. Part 3. And then the people is going to be like, oh my God, we've been so cruel and so mean to the true chosen people of God, true Yasharala, the true chosen ones. You know what I'm saying? Then once Yahya sets up his kingdom and he do that, and the whole world is gonna know that he is king, and they gotta exalt him. They gotta drop their idols, that they idols have no power and can't do nothing. And then once my people eyes open up more and see that they've been deceived and fooled, and the prophecy stands, and Yahya's word is valid and is gold, and that they ain't as wise as they think, and they've been serving idols and putting idols before Yahya, then that's when change is going to be like in effect. I'm gonna end this here. Remember, red pill is to serve Yahya and Yahya alone. Blue pill is idolatry and serving anything contrary to Yahya. Peace. Burakatah. Kwam Yashrala.